where Saskatchewan talks football. CJME's The Green Zone. Powered by Minard Steadfast Homes.
We have TJ Karwandy in studio with us, and let's get started with the trade. Matt O'Donnell for Greg Carr, pretty much straight up. There's a 4th and 5th round pick thrown. It's whatever. There's not much difference there. But what do you think of Matt O'Donnell going to the Eskimos for Greg Carr?
I may be in the minority here, but I am not a fan. Anytime you're trading away your Canadian depth for import players, it's always something you want to give a high level of scrutiny to, and I'm just not a fan of it. We're getting a receiver we could have signed in the offseason. He was a free agent. We passed on him then and went a different route, and like I said, we could use another depth, especially a tackle spot. I mean, you get a big unknown there, so never a fan of trading away your Canadians for Americans.
Glen, he's on your side.
Yeah, and I mean that's what the point of this is. I mean, it'll come down to the evaluation of Matt O'Donnell, exactly what Brendan Taman actually feels about his ability to become a starting offensive lineman, but and whether or not he would have ended up in Regina. But I agree. I think if you're trading away a top prospect, a top Canadian, then you better get a quarterback in return. And I just don't see this trade. And a good point was made there that Carr was available as a free agent in the offseason.
What do you think of Carr, TJ, generally as bringing him in as a receiver?
As a receiver, I like him. I mean, he's got a big body. He's a proven body of work. You're not bringing in someone straight off the street. He knows the game. He's got some proven stats there. So, I mean, I like that about him. But I don't like the price we paid for. I think we overpaid for him. And I just wish we'd commit to our guys. We keep shuffling receivers. It's new one every week. We should just settle on, especially after last game, a good performance by all of them. Let's commit to some guys and get some consistency going there.
Yeah, it's interesting timing after, TJ Harris, I thought, looked good. Brooks Foster had some nice plays. Jock Sanders had a play or two, and now, maybe 1, 2, or 3 of those guys may be on the bench in favor of someone who's just entering his first, practice tomorrow with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Glenn, do you have a question for TJ?
I did. I would like to get his feelings on Darian Durant, and I think it's been a theme through all our contestants, and we should probably get everyone a chance to weigh in. So, TJ, what do you think about it? Is it the media that is creating this sort of publicity that Darian Durant is picked on too much, or do you see it that way?
I think it's the fact that the detractors are probably the loudest, and the supporters, who I truly feel are the majority, just don't get their voices out there enough. I mean, he's a heck of a quarterback, but I think sometimes we make the mistake of thinking he's a miracle worker. I mean, just like anyone, he's going to need blocking from his line. He's going to need receivers. He's going to need a scheme. He can't do it all. So, show like last game, when he gets those things, he looks top of his game. When he doesn't, he can look bad. So I think there's a lot of support out there for him, and we need to maybe do a better job of speaking up about that.
You're in the crowd. What's it like in there? We heard one might have been John last night talking about how quickly people turn on number 4 in games.
Oh, I think some people come to the games just looking to jump on him. We're up in the second deck, so the further back you go in the section, there's kind of the detractors kind of grow in bigger numbers. Right around us, it's pretty good, but it gets sketchier the further you move back.
Glenn?
Well, let's talk about this team moving forward in a bigger picture, TJ, and exactly what you see, first of all, in the rematch in Winnipeg, and beyond that. Are they closer to the 52-point team, or are they closer to the team that lost 5 in a row?
I'd like to think they're closer to the 52-point team. I mean, I'm not going to kid myself and think another game like that's coming, but they were doing the right things. Offensively, you saw spreading the ball around, getting Dressler involved, throwing deep, using tight ends to help in those protections. Defensively, they were being aggressive, showing blitz on second down. And if they keep doing those things going forward, they might not win by 52, but they should win, like they were doing earlier in the season.
Now, for the Saskatchewan Roughriders moving forward, they need more of that. Who do you believe truly that this team has turned a corner, or is this what happened last year? I'll say it again. They struggled going into Labor Day. They won an emotional game. They went to the Banjo Bowl, another rival game. They won. They kind of teetered out, but won a third in a row, and then they turned right back into who they were before Labor Day. Or do you think this is a different corner being turned by the Roughriders?
I think any judgment right now is a bit premature. I mean, we've seen the good riders, we've seen the bad riders. We haven't seen anything consistently. So if you're planning the parade route right now, you're a bit premature. Certainly lots to be excited about, but I wouldn't be hanging my hat on any of it until I see it, especially against a team who is not dead last in pretty much everything that matters.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, terrible. But anyways, they take on Montreal the next week, so that's going to be a pretty good watermark for the Saskatchewan Roughriders to meet Glen.
Yeah, and I do have one other question for TJ Jamie. I was just curious to know with the this football team. You mentioned that changeover, that another new receiver is being added to the roster. We've seen a lot of personnel juggling, and be interested to hear, sort of as a representative of the fan base, what you think about when it's time to actually solidify the roster so that guys can get to know each other better.
We're at the midway point of the season now. If you haven't got your top guys figured out, I think you're in trouble. I mean, obviously injuries are going to play a toll, and you're going to have to make some shifts there. But, I mean, the O-line and the secondary, they're only going to get better the more they play together. So I think it's going to pay dividends if we just pick some guys and commit to them. How do we expect Durant to get in sync with his receivers when it's a new guy every week? I mean, let's solidify our guys, pick them, and then see what happens with a little consistency from there.
Still a lot of change for the Saskatchewan Roughriders going forward. The linebackers, maybe Diamond Ferry plays in, Greg Carr coming to town. It's not stopping, though, for Corey Chamberlain. Is that maybe fault of a rookie head coach in your mind?
I think that's just his style. He's a tinker. He always, what about this and what about that? And maybe that's just something we're going to have to live to if that is his style. But, I mean, I'd like to see him temper it a bit. A little bit's good. Too much can probably hurt you a bit. That's
7 minutes with TJ Karwandy, the fourth semifinalist of the six. We have two more tomorrow. Thanks for coming in, TJ.
My pleasure.
There's